Well, for our close-up this month, we went down to the south coast and visited Portsmouth trainer John Copplestone, a marvellous setup he's got down there. You can see his schooling track, a wonderful galloping. Plenty of opportunity there to give his dogs every exercise they need. And over the far side, there's a greyhound we're going to recognise in a second. He's not a bags-tracked dog, even because he's got a bag on his foot. That was the result of a little accident in the kennel, a slight nick on the toe. Summerhill Super, the dog, of course, winner of last year's Irish Puppy Derby. Select Stakes winner this year at Wembley, and of course Irish Derby semi-finalist this year. There's the trainer, John Copplestone. As I say, we're going to see all his setup here, and Clive Lawrence went down there to talk to John, and we spoke to him about his challenge for this year's Laurels. He hoped to have no fewer than 6 runners in the big race.
Right, John, you've got 6 dogs that you've got earmarked for this year's Laurels. Who do you think's the best chance of winning the crown for you?
Summerhill Super. The way he's running at the moment, he's more advanced than the other dogs. The other dogs are coming off of trials, or new dogs in. I think Summerhill Super has to be my number 1, the way he's running at the moment.
And he's a very experienced animal as well, isn't he?
Yes, yes, he's had a lot of runs around Wimbledon. He would know Wimbledon more than what my other dogs. You know, my other dogs have already having trials. This week will be the first time we've had a look at Wimbledon, so I'm hoping they'll run Wimbledon well. But at least Summerhill Super can run Wimbledon, being it's in the final of the English Derby.
Well, we're seeing some of those trials a little later on, but tell us more about the Derby final. You were very bullish about Super's chances throughout the competition. How did you see the final going for you?
Well, I thought he was desperately unlucky. I think any other trap bar 4, trap 1, 2 or 3, I think I'd have a great chance of lifting it. You know, I thought he was absolutely flying going into the 3rd bench, showing phenomenal pace. Looked the fastest dog on the night to me, and it's all over, moved on to the rails and stopped him stone dead. I definitely think he'd have been 2nd, taking nothing away from the winner. I definitely, without any fear of contradiction, he'd have definitely been 2nd in the final, definitely.
So obviously quite a fancy for this year's Laurels, but he's injured his foot, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did. He jumped up at the door and caught his nail on the door. He's bruised it and slightly cut it at the moment. It is a setback, but we're hoping that it'll come up on the time. I've got 2 weeks with him, so I'm hoping now that it'll be okay. It's not that serious, but it is a slight setback, and we're hoping that it'll come out on the day. Like.
Well, his last run was on St Leger night at Wembley, when he was very impressive against Handsome Henry.
Yeah, I thought it was a great race. You know, I thought Handsome Henry ran very well. Very surprised that Handsome Henry went with me to 3 bends, because he's about the only dog I've seen for a long time that's got to me to 3 bends. But I think experience told in the end, and we pulled away and won by a length and a quarter. Very exciting race. Got into the 3rd bend. I thought that Handsome Henry might be a bit stronger than me, being he's a flashy sir and I'm a Daly's Gold. I'll be more sprinting. But I was well pleased to come out of it.
And prior to that, Super ran in the Anglo-Irish International at Shelbourne Park.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, I wasn't there. I've never actually seen the race. I have seen it on video. The dog ran fantastic. Absolutely showed him what early pace was all about. Really flew the boxes. Must have led 4 or 5 down the back straight. But the 550 is slightly bit too far for him. You know, he is a 5'2" dog, and you have got a strong dog like Arthur Mick coming at you, which is, as you know, rated the best dog in Ireland, the dog of the year, won the Derby, Champion Stakes. And if you've got dogs like that up your backside coming at you, but for early pace, he was out on his own, and that's what I think. That's what the Irish should be looking at when that time comes. Early pace, and this dog, he really made him look. Made him look 2nd rate for early pace, like.
Well, let's take a look at that Anglo-Irish International performance now. First of all, let's check on the runners.
And we're concentrating, of course, on Trap 3, Summerhill Super. It was a high-quality lineup for the Ladbrokes Anglo-Irish International, including, of course, the Respond Irish Derby winner, Arthur Mick, in 2. But they had no answer, really, to Summerhill Super's early pace. Look at him up towards this first bend. He really takes this very fast indeed, doesn't he? He's about a length up at the first bend, and he's all of a sudden taken that crown of the bend really well, and he's shot some 4-5 lengths clear from Ardford Mick now, who's got a clear run in second place. But Ardford Mick takes a long time to pick up Summerhill Super. They're around the second last bend already, and still Summerhill Super is a length up. Ardford Mick now having a challenge on the outside. He's just going to get up in the dying strides, but a great performance there from Summerhill Super.
So Summerhill Super lost nothing in defeat there against Ardfert Mick, and obviously your main chance for this year's Laurels, John. But what about some of your other dogs? Let's first of all look at Murlens Abbey. Tell us more about him.
Well, I think Murlens Abbey, seen him troll and had his first race at Reading, very impressive. This dog, he's a new dog, and I'd like to say too much about the dog, you know, shoot my mouth off too much about this dog, but this dog could be another Summerhill Super. He could be anything. He did a run around, he had his second trial around Reading, and he won 14 lengths in 28.28. Now, for a dog that's only ever had 3 races in his life, that's a, you know, a very good run. He then won his next trial, dropped by about 28.50, and then he had his first race, and he was very impressive, very impressive. There's a lot of early pace around him. He completely missed his break, but showed phenomenal pace after that. See a gap, courageous, see a small gap, and was in the lead coming out of the first bend. And he stayed there 1 by 3 lengths, and at the trip he must have been 10 lengths. This dog could be anything. You know, he's really exciting prospect, this dog.
Do you think he'll be suited to Wimbledon?
I don't see why not. You know, his Daly's got again, early pace type dog. He's a nice type of long striding dog. But then again, I'll have to, you know, Trolls will tell me. He's going for a Troll stake on Saturday. As I say, he's only ever had 4 races. He's won all 4. He's unbeaten at the moment. He's never been beaten Trolls or races. And this is going to be his Waterloo on Saturday now. He's taken on dogs like Summerhill Gem, Gable Wonder. You know, so if he can hold his own against them or beat them, then we've got ourselves a greyhound.
So he's quite an exciting prospect.
I think so. He's the one that gets my adrenaline going out of all of them so far, you know.
Well, let's take a look at that Reading performance now, and let's see who he lined up against.
So the spotlight falls upon Murlens Abbey in this minor open at Reading, over 465 metres. The maiden favourite at 5-4. Others in the lineup you might recognise: Clonless Villa for starters in Trap 6, the Pall Mall winner. Right, let's find out what happened at the boxes, and as you can see, Murlens Abbey very slowly away, but look at the tenacity. He's made that rails pitch his at that first bend. He's kicked clear, showed a nice bit of early pace, and he's already 2 lengths clear from the others as they go down that far side. In fact, he's drawing further away at this stage of the race. Now, he's young and open to plenty of improvement. It just goes to show also how much strength and depth the Copplestone kennel has. Not only do they have Summerhill Super and Terrydrum Tico, who we'll see shortly, but also this fella, Murlens Abbey, very impressive.
Another dog that you can't really call a puppy now is Crossford Jumbo. He's been around for quite a long time. What do you think his chances are, John?
Well, he'd have a good chance. He's a very good competition dog. He's always, you know, he's always run his heart out in all the competitions. He's been practically to every final. He's been in Barley Derby final. He's been in the Peterborough Derby final, the Golden Muzzle final, the Midland Sprint final, the Oxford Cup final. So he's a good competition dog. Not very lucky in the finals with him, but he's good. He runs his heart out, and you know, there's nothing saying if he can do the time. There's nothing saying that Crossford Jumbo can't win it the same as any other. You know, he's good on his dog, and he's a tough dog. I think he can handle Wimbledon. He's been around Wimbledon. I thought he ran very well in the Derby, and he's trotted around, you know, he's trotted around Wimbledon, and I know he can handle Wimbledon early pace. No, he'll give him a good run.
Well, he certainly ran well in the final of the Midland Flat Championship we've seen earlier on the tape. But has he got that extra length that he can pull out to win the Laurels final, do you think?
Well, he could do. you know, he's taken on some heavy guns, but it's not insane. He can, a couple of lengths, you know, you only got to take a bump for a couple of lengths. You know, a couple of lengths is nothing in this type of competition, and you got to have luck. You know, he might get a good draw through, but he'll get past, like. I wouldn't underestimate him.
Well, he'll be one of the outsiders of your party in the Laurels, but one that will attract a lot of interest in the market is Terrydrum Tico, a dog that has a great reputation in Ireland, and you've just recently acquired him. Tell us more about Tico.
Well, as most people know, Terrydrum Tico has come across into kind of a big reputation. Winner of the Irish Laurels, winner of the Derby Consolation in Ireland. Very good dog. Has had a lot of racing, but I've given him a nice rest now. I think he's won about 20 races, not long ran in them, but he's won about 20 races, but he's had a nice rest now. Very pleased with his first 2 trials. Come off with a slight neck and shoulder problem. I think I've got it right now, but he's settled and he's full of himself, and I'm hoping he'll do a good run for me on Monday in the trials. You know, to going for the Laurels, like. But he's an unknown quantity to me. They do their running in Ireland, but they got to do their running in England with me. But you know, great exciting prospect for this year and next year for the Derbies.
Well, let's remind ourselves about a superb battle in the Irish Laurels final when Terrydrum Tico in Trap 5 took on Concentration in Trap 6.
Well, many people reckon this is the race of the year over in Ireland, the final of the Laurels. And of course, up front, Concentration, well, we know what he's capable of, don't we? He's out in front already and he's showing poor old Terrydrum Tico a clean pair of paws at this stage of the race. But you've got to admire Terrydrum Tico, a front runner himself, just gradually wears down Concentration in the closing stages. Great battle as they come off this final bend. Concentration still about a length up from Terrydrum Tico, who's closing all the time, and it's just there, right on the line where it counts. Terrydrum Tico wins.
Right, so those are your main Laurels contenders, John, and as I say, we'll be catching up on their trial performances a little later on the tape. But what about other dogs that you might be putting away for the winter now, looking to the Derby next year? What ones have you got there?
Well, I've got a dog called Ballyard Champ. Very good dog. He was in the final of the Puppy Derby in Ireland. Missed his break and got banged about a bit in the final. I've rested him. I'll rest him up. He's a big dog. I'll be resting him for the winter. I think he could be a very good prospect next year. He'll be one of my Derby dogs. He'll be earmarking him, especially for the English Derby. Another little dog, Moortown Zeta. He's took a bit of time to settle. He was second in the Sport and Press final in Shelbourne. First time around doing 29:30. Very young dog, April dog. He could be a nice prospect next year. Could be Derby class, but I'm having problems at the moment. He's not settling, so there's no point in fetching him up and let him settle. He can settle for the winter now. We'll fetch him up next year. He could be another good prospect.
Have you got any sprinters that you think might develop into good open dogs?
Yeah, I've got one. Looks like a scurry dog, Kilcree Gold. Very impressive at Portsmouth. Lot of early pace. I don't think he's been led at the moment around Portsmouth. And as you know, Portsmouth is for sprinters. He looks very good prospect. He'll be one of my scurry dogs. But at the moment, he's got a slight injury, but he'll be put away for the winter, brought up in the spring. Ready, and he'll be more of a scurry type dog. Another one is 4 grand up. Another very fast, early paced dog. He'll be a scurry dog. That'll be 2 dogs that, for sprinting, I'll be looking for.
We mentioned that Kilcree Gold had a bit of an injury. Now you've got a very modern setup here to deal with injuries. Tell us about the equipment you've got, John.
Well, we've got every type of equipment to deal with injuries here. Lasers, ultrasonics, modules, say the latest laser equipment. But everything that there is on the market, I will get, because you have to have it in this day and age. You've got dogs going into competitions, they might come off a bit sore after. You've got to be on the ball next ball and fetch them back on the modulum. We've got the jacuzzi, with jacuzzi, making sure everything's okay, keep them clean. But I think you have to have it in this day and age with this type of dog in competition. You might get away with it, what, a one-off, where a dog ain't going to race for 2 weeks. But you get these competitions, and some of these competitions just run off in 10 days. So you've got to make sure that within the next day, that dog, and if he has got something slightly, you're straight on it with a laser or the magnetic pulse.
A couple of bits of equipment that definitely caught my eye. Obviously the jacuzzi's a godsend really,
Yes.
for treating injuries. But also the new equipment, I don't even know what to call it really. It's where you put the dog's feet in what looks like a bucket and an electric current passes through it.
Yes.
What's that, John?
Well, it's a new one from Siren, but then I was very impressed with it. I brought it down, and it won't fix a wrist if you've got any bone chippings, but it's very good. Like when you get dogs coming off with sprained wrists next day, they're a bit sore, and they're a bit sore on the mustangs, on the hocks, or on the front, anywhere along on the front there, and you can put it in there, and you can treat them, and they seem to come off, and it seems to do the trick. It takes the heat out of them, and it looks like a good. It could be the answer for the sprained wrists, or the sprained wrist, rather than it won't fix a chipped bone in a wrist or an absolute wrist is just shattered. But it's very, very good with dogs, especially on these sand circuits now. They seem to be coming off very wristy next day, and you feel them think, blimey. Whereas now this could be the treatment. I'm hoping this could be the treatment for the dogs that suffer from wrist treatment.
So it's almost as if you get like the prototypes to try out here. I mean, you're very happy with them.
I'm very happy. Yes. Looking on with the Siren people, they comes down. Any new equipment come up, they come down and show me them. I tries it all out. I think if it's successful, I buy it. Like, but as I say, this is 1991, and you've got to have the equipment.
And I also saw something almost looked out of year 2000, which is a laser, but in the shape of a pen.
Yes, it's a pen laser. So, you can carry it around, and it's very good for cuts. Very good for cuts, bad quicks. You could be treating a dog. You could be sitting in the back of the van and treating a dog with a laser. You can carry it just like a fountain pen, and I find it's very good for cuts and different things.
Well, tell us a bit more about your history in the sport, John. When did you first get involved in greyhound racing?
Well, I've been, as an owner, I've been in the game about 15 years, but I've been training for approximately 10 or 11 years. I started off like everybody else. Dog was given to me, fighter, as a pet, and then it sort of gets into your blood, and it just snowballs from there. Then you look for a better dog, and then you look for a better dog, and if you can afford to buy a better dog, you get one, and you try to win, and it sort of just gets into your blood. After that, I think it's a great relaxing for me, because I said I've got other business commitments, but this is my hobby, and I really love it. I'm pleased at the moment I've got such good dogs, to be a great challenge next year. Any bit of luck at all, without injuries and that, we could have a great season. And we've got some nice dogs here for the racing public to look at. They're better off in England than they are in Ireland, so it should be exciting 1992 then.